And here it is, the Monday morning live stream at the Thrive Like a Viking headquarters zone. Well, it doesn't really matter what zone does it. So we got a good one today. We're going to do the guided meditation for a little bit, and then we are going to discuss a topic that is very intimately dear to me because after 10 years of traveling the world, I have some intimate knowledge of homesickness, okay, and everything that it is. Now, even if you've not experienced homesickness or you're not experiencing it, or maybe this topic doesn't interest you, we will go so far in depth that you will learn many things. So stick with us. Now, let us see who is here. Let me know who's here, what you guys are doing, how your day or evening is going, where you're at, where are you viewing this from. Even if you're watching after the fact, let us know where you guys are at. All right. We see Susanna. We see Sam Potzik, Lisa T, Pilar. Yes. Ginia McDonald. Hello, my friends. Let's see here. Pilar says, lots of old school representing up in here. Come on, inner peace. I don't have all day. Yes, probably referencing to my being 10 minutes late. I can understand. Now, that is due to many things, but technology is one of them. If you could see the setup I have right now, it's like a MacGyver episode. Does anyone get that reference anymore? Or am I getting old when you say MacGyver? He's a guy that used to make all kinds of clever stuff. You know, he used to get into tricky situations and then have to make real clever escapes or something using what he's got. So yes, let us do the sound check real quick, guys. Okay. MacGyver. What did I say? What did I say? Yeah, so the I hope that the sound is working. Okay, Ginia gets it. Lisa T gets it. Okay. Sophia, hello, my friend. And Pilar says, I'm in Rhode Island right now, but missing my Caribbean home. 2 more months to go. Well, it could be worse. It could be worse. Hello, Aaron Johnson. Good to see you, my friend. And Graham Devine, yes, from Ireland. So, let us see here. Brian Airy, yes. Mick Hegarty, glad you guys are here. You can join us. Pam from South Africa, good to see you. Okay, guys, so we will, thank you, Donald. Thank you. Ms. T, good to see you here. Pilar says, MacGyver isn't old, it's the bee's knees. Yeah. We're not that old, okay? Bee's knees, that's way before us. So we are going to do the meditation, and then we will get into the topic, which was asked by one of you guys. So I will quickly read the topic, or read the question. Hold on one second. So the question came from one of you guys a couple of weeks ago, and we're getting to it now. I'm not going to read the names of the questioners because maybe they want to remain anonymous. I don't know. But if you guys are watching this, put a question in the comments, something that you want to discuss, something you want to see discussed, something that would, I mean, we can cover so many different things. We can cover even mildly world events. I mean, not like from the news, but mildly things like that. I can give my take on whatever. That I can do. So that's for what it is. So the questioner says, hello, Nate. Topic for upcoming video, homesickness. With your global travels, you could shed great light on this topic. I believe homesickness is living slash thinking in the past and future. Peace, brother. So, yes. Now, if you could elaborate even much more than that, that would be great. It gives us more to work with when we are discussing something. But that is enough. And so we will go multiple levels. We will go just homesickness, like everyone thinks, and then we will go increasingly deep until we get to the very fabric of reality. Okay? So let us begin the meditation, my friends. See here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Joe Morton, good to see you here, my friend. I saw your comment from last week. Glad you are still going strong. Okay, let us drop into the meditative state of mind just for a few minutes. Whatever you're doing, just put it on the shelf. for the duration of the meditation, and it will still be there when you are done. Together, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Here we go. Fill the lungs fully in. Hold. Let it go. Last one. Breathe fully, deeply as you can. Hold. Hold. Let it go. Now allow the body to breathe however it wants to breathe. No need to make any effort to breathe in any particular way. Let us drop right in to the meditation. As we breathe in and out, in and out, allow the body to become completely relaxed. With each exhalation, sink deeper and deeper into the state of total relaxation. Keep the spine straight and alert, yet deeply relaxed. Bring the mind into the body. If the mind is jumping all over the place with thoughts and images and songs that are stuck in your head and all sorts of different things, it's all right at first. Just bring your attention back to the breath. As you breathe in and out, if the mind is very active, anchor it on the sensation of air as it flows past your nostrils and into your body. Focus all your attention on that little area, the ring around the nostrils, and focus only on the subtle sensation of air as it flows in and out. And every time the mind wanders away, which at first it might happen often, you just bring it back to the subtle sensation of air. Now, many of you that have been practicing for some time, your power over the mind is increasing, possibly very dramatically by this point. And you will be able to go 5, 10, 25 breaths before the mind pulls you away. This is good. This is good. This is a natural result of the practice. Your powers of concentration and focus are increasing and growing stronger and stronger every time that you recondition the mind and you bring it back to the object of meditation, which is the breath. Every time you bring it back, you are strengthening that neurological muscle of concentration, presence, and focus. However, being able to go 20 or 30 or 100 breaths is not the goal of the meditation, it is a byproduct. Now, many of you can use your ever-increasing powers of concentration and focus to penetrate into the body. Go within and feel the inner energy field that animates your life, animates the body. Feel the heartbeat. Feel the blood flowing through the veins. You can feel this. Feel the sense of aliveness that is in your hands. Don't move them. Don't look at them. Just feel how alive your hands are. And as your powers of concentration become stronger, you will be able to feel an energy field of infinite potentiality, of infinite creative force emanating from your hands, the fingertips out into the atmosphere, just waiting to create, waiting to build. Infinite potentiality lies dormant within your hands. You can feel this as you become more aware. Now you can become aware of the energy field permeating your body. It's not just in your hands. It is throughout your entire body and extends beyond the body. With each inhalation, it is like stoking the bellows of a fire. You are breathing in the life force, the prana. The ancients didn't know exactly what oxygen molecules and carbon dioxide and all that. They just called it the prana, the life force. You breathe in the life force. And you exhale. And the atmosphere inhales as you exhale. And it recycles. And you recycle the atmosphere. It is a symbiotic relationship. Just breathe. Feel the body. Feel how happy you are to be alive right now. Smile with your mind. Smile with your mind. Together, let us take 3 deep conscious breaths, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Last one. Fill the lungs. Hold. Hold. Let it go. To many of you whose powers of concentration are growing through the practices, the powers of observation, you will suddenly know what I mean when I say you can be simultaneously aware of everything all at once, everything that is happening. Your breathing, we begin with the breathing. So if your mind is still very active, and perhaps you watch a lot of television or you do a lot of scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, and you watch a lot of noisy content or you watch a lot of news or movies or things like that, your mind will be full of images, full of images that will be going bzz, 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 and you're not even aware of this until you begin the practice. Then, once you begin the art of observation, looking within, then you begin to see how much commotion is in your mind. Commotion, noise, one thought right to the next one, right to the next image. And most of it in our modern world has been implanted in there. It's not even your own. And so only once we sit and become quiet and still do we observe all of this noise that is happening. And since the human being is a marvel of adaptation, that is the superpower of the human being. Remember that. We can adapt to anything. That's our superpower. Eagles can fly, fish can swim better than we ever could, but we can adapt better than any other creature, for the most part. And so most people just adapt to that background noise, that static that is in their mind. It makes them uneasy. It makes them fidget with their hands. It makes them constantly have to, where's my phone, and scroll. And it makes them constantly have to flip through a magazine. If they're sitting somewhere, they got to flip through a magazine, and they're not even aware of it. It's this angsty feeling that makes them feel out of place and uneasy. But they're not even aware it's there until they begin the practice. Once they begin the practices, the meditation, the cold training, the contrast therapy, the breath work, the kettlebell, the working out, the physical exertion, all of these things are combined. Then they start to see, especially the meditation, what we just did, that's the primary. The others are forms of meditation. But then they begin to see how much static they've adapted to. I said, whoa, all of this commotion and noise, it's like railroad tracks. It's like living next to a train tracks in the city, the U-rail. It's like living next to that. Boom, all the commotion. So how can you possibly feel at ease and peaceful and actualized and have a sense of deep purpose when that is your current state? That background sort of just commotion that's happening in your mind. You can't, really. That's the answer. You can't, really. So this all becomes clear once we begin the practices. And only then once we see it and say, whoa, I can only sit here for like 5 seconds. Less than that. Some people like 2 seconds. They say, okay, I'll sit here. Okay, I'm going to focus only on the sensation of air. Ready? Go. La da da da. I wonder what we're gonna have for dinner tonight. Oh man, that sounds really good. Oh yeah, this and that. Papa John's, commercials, advertisements, all this stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm supposed to be meditating. And then they'll come back, 2 breaths, and then they'll wander away for another minute. This is how it happens at first, because the mind is untrained. And so only once we begin to see this do we realize, whoa, that's an issue. That's an issue. Okay. So then we become, once we admit that and see that, then we step into our power. We say, okay, we're going to start doing the practice. Now we're going to retrain the mind. Every time it wanders away, no, take the reins. You got to take the reins of your life. And it starts by taking the reins of your mind. And so every time you do that, boom, it reconditions until, like a wild stallion that is just wild and wild, you got to break it first. And then the stallion will calm down and become a workhorse for you. Very powerful, but it has to be broke first. It's like that with the mind. So that's what we're doing. So don't be discouraged if the mind wants to go all over the place and just stop meditating. Oh, well, I like these talks, but that meditation part, yeah, that's just, I don't have the time for that. Of course, the ego mind will say that forever. And you'll go your whole life with that background static, not even realizing what it's doing to your whole life. So, okay, let's see here. Good morning, VA Green. Mick Hegarty says, great meditation, exactly what I needed. Yes, I thought so. That's what it feels like. Aaron Johnson says, that one gave me cold chills, like waves of energy washing over me. Didn't want to stop the meditation. Yes, waves of energy washing over me. This is it. This is the feeling that we want to bring more and more into our experience. We don't try to chase after it, but we just allow it to happen by getting out of the way. Feel the energy in the body. Yes. Oh, yeah. Guys, there is no end to the depth of peace and satisfaction and contentment that you can feel. There's no end to it. It's infinitely deep. Yes. And when you just begin to start feeling it, oh, just a little bit of it is amazing. You can live from that state. So, Val says, I noticed how disconnected I've been this week, not doing the breathing and short meditations. Need to get back to it. Absolutely, my friend. It is all about the practices. It is all about the practices. You just do them and let them work their magic. Okay, we're going to transition to the topic now. Let me finish this real quick. Sophia Renee says, yes, exactly. That sense of peace and satisfaction. Yes. In the way, well, I won't go into it right now. So, topic, guys, homesickness. What do you think about homesickness? What are your thoughts? If you're watching this after the fact, let me know. What does homesickness mean to you? Have you experienced it? How did you sort of get through it? What does that mean? Okay. Now, I just had to finish my coffee, my bulletproof coffee. Raw cream, a little bit of raw butter that I made from the cream, and organic coffee, of course, espresso roast, and a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of blackstrap molasses. That is the ticket. 1 cup in the morning time. Now this is a giant bucket, but only one bucket per day of coffee, and that's all that we need. So the question came from you guys, so we're gonna read it real quick again. And the questioner says, hello, Nate. Topic for upcoming video. Homesickness. With your global travels, you could shed great light on this topic. I believe homesickness is living, thinking in the past and future. So this person believes that homesickness is living and thinking in the past and the future. Now, we'll go into this, okay? So as many of you know, robot, yes, unsulfured blackstrap molasses, always unsulfured. There's a link in the description of this video to my Amazon storefront, and if you go to the storefront, cook like a Viking stuff that I use. Yeah, it's really good, really good. So now many of you know that I spent a 10-year traveling the world, and I experienced all different kinds of things, went to all different kinds of places, lived in many different countries, and so I have great experience with the concept of homesickness. Yes. Now, at first, the let me just start with really how we function in our day-to-day life that we really don't even realize. So, in your day-to-day life, right now, it's happening. You are going about your life with a certain background awareness of your senses, what your senses are trying to tell you. The uh, because that's all you can really know about the environment is what your senses are receiving and trying to tell you. Okay, so what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling is a big one, and what you're feeling, and also the mind, they say, is a sense. You know, in spiritual circles, they say the mind is one of the senses because it thinks. The eyes see, the ears hear, the mind thinks. So you're going about your life with a certain amount of background assumptions almost. For example, the smells that are all around you. How many of you know that uh, once you go to like a new place, or if you move to a new place or something, then the the what what once was a foul odor then becomes something you don't even notice anymore. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So like if you start wearing a new cologne or some essential oils, I don't wear cologne or any fragrances anymore, just essential oils. So if you start, an essential oil, then at first, great, you can smell it and everything. Wow, it's really pungent. But then after some time, you can't even smell it. You put 10 drops in there and you can't smell it because the human body makes sense of the world based upon its most common parameters. So the smell of your house, the smell, your own smell, you can't really smell it. Your own the smell of the incense that you use, or the essential oils, the smell of the food, the smell and the taste of the food that you cook, the smell of your furniture, the smell of your neighborhood that has a certain smell to it, the smell of your particular city. If you got, I mean, there's definitely smells of a city. Okay, so everything, all the smells become like a background noise for the most part until there's a new smell, like a one that stands out, that catches your attention. Even though there's all different kinds of smells from the carpet, from the this and that, from the oils, or from your people and stuff like that. But if there's a new smell, it stands out because the human mind is designed that way, and it is designed to recognize these parameters and say, whoa, okay, there's a new one. It's like our eyes of the predator, like that we are, the two eyes located in the front of the head. They are designed to sense motion. They're designed to sense the change. So you can stare at a landscape all day. Wow, beautiful. But if you see a little motion, deer, boom, immediately the eyes catch that. That is how the human organism is designed. Is to see in that way, to smell in that way, to hear in that way. So how many of you know, if you work at like a factory, when you go into a factory, when you first start working there, and I know this, I worked at a factory for 2 years, BAE Systems, soldering circuit boards for military aircraft under a microscope. It was insane. But that's what made me leave to go traveling. Was I said that's not for me. But when I first got there, there was all these noises from the machines. Bah, all the fluorescent lights all day. And there was the smell of like formaldehyde and alcohol. Oh, oh. And the first couple of months, that was like, oh, every time I went in there, it was really difficult. But then after a while, I didn't even notice it. I just walked into work and got to work and would have my headphones on and everything. Now, all the smells are still there. All the sights, the wah from the machines and the lights, all that's still there. But the human mind is a marvel of adaptation. It became adapted to all of that. And that's how it makes sense of the world. Until there was a new sound, whoa, then it would get my attention. Okay? So, with this base understanding, the yes, Miss T says, I thought I had lost my sense of smell until I smelt something new. Yes, this is how the body does. You can exercise this scent. I've gone through exercises with essential oils and things to exercise my sense of smell, which is very, very acute now. Yes. So Sam Potzik says, going back to a place where you feel comfortable and where things stay the same. That's his idea of homesickness. Yes, and we will get to that definitely. Graham says, I've always lived beside the sea. Even in Holland, I had to be by the sea. I really don't like being far away from the sea. A busy city isn't a place for me to live. Yes, that would be nice. That is nice, my friend. So the So that is how we make sense of the world, okay? So when we go to a different place, now here's the thing. When we go to a new place, for example, using my own travels, this is how I came to understand all of this because it was so different. It's not just like going from Indiana to California. You know, that's different, but not that different. But going from Indiana to Kathmandu or to Bangkok or to Delhi, or to Rajasthan and riding a motorcycle through the Thar Desert and all of that, or going to Morocco on my bicycle, that kind of stuff is really different. And so the senses don't know how to make sense of reality. They don't, all the smells are 100% new. All of them are just completely new. And all of the sights, the people, the way that they dress, the way that they interact with each other, all of it is different, totally different. And the food, the taste is totally different. And so it's like it's totally different even than Indian cuisine here in America tastes nothing like it does in India. And Thai food here in America doesn't taste anything like it does in Thailand. And so it was just short circuiting all of these things because that's what the human mind does. That's how it makes sense of reality. And so your senses yearn for that familiarity. It yearns quickly. It desires to be back in a place where it can feel what is familiar, where it knows how to make sense of reality. So this is the neurological sort of basis for homesickness. All right. So we yearn for that which makes sense to us, to that which makes us feel at home. Even if it's dysfunctional and nasty, it doesn't matter because the human being is a marvel of adaptation. And so you will adapt to your home environment. And then when you're out from that, your senses will want that familiarity because it knows how to place everything. It can relax. It's exhausting. You become sensory exhaustion. That's what I experience. Sensory exhaustion because your senses, when you're traveling like that or away from home in a very different place, they never have a time to shut off. They never can just kind of relax like they do at home because it knows what all these sounds are. The subconscious knows what all these little smells are. You don't get that in a new place. So it happens to varying degrees. When you go to a totally different place, like from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Kathmandu, is a dramatic difference. But if you're just going from, Indiana to California or something, then it's still happening. Not as dramatic, but it's still happening. The way people act is different. The way that the food is different. The taste of things, the smell of the locality, all of that is different. So neurologically and sensory speaking, that is what is happening. And so your body will implore you. It will really try to guide you to go back home, go back to where we know everything is familiar, to where we are safe, where we can make sense of the world. So that's what's happening to the organism on that level. Okay, and I have intimate knowledge of this. Guys, if you haven't already, give the video a thumbs up, please. We're trying to, do this. Uh, so then, Joe Morton says, I did 3 years in prison from a wreck I caused while drinking and driving. Oh my goodness. I went into automatic acceptance mode when convicted to adapt to my new life. I saw others struggle more with it. Absolutely. That is the ticket right there. Acceptance. Acceptance of it. Yes, that is the key. The people that don't accept will suffer dramatically more. And this is acutely evident in a situation like prison, but this is also true with everyday life. Those who accept, adapt, they experience greater peace. Those who resist everything experience more suffering. The homesickness. Okay, let's see what a couple of you guys are saying. Pilar says, different sense of humor can make you feel not connected also, or maybe my jokes just suck all over the world. Yeah, made me laugh because I get it. Totally different sense of humor. Yes. Totally different sense of everything. When I would go to India, at first, it was really unsettling the way that people in India just stare. They will just stare at you and not say anything. Here in America, it's like there's a certain little time frame of accepted. If we're like strangers on a bus and boom, and I see you and I'll like glance at you, there's like a moment where it's acceptable, and then you look away. If we're on a bus or something and I'm sitting there like this, just dead eyeing you, then that's a disrespectful. There's an issue. That's not appropriate culturally in America. But in India, nobody thinks anything of it. Nobody thinks anything of it. They will just sit there and just staring at you, looking you up and down and stuff, not saying anything. And they'll just kind of sit there like that. And you're like, hi, trying to, it makes you feel uncomfortable because your body doesn't know that's not typical of the way that people act. That's threatening in America. But there, it's perfectly normal. It is absolutely just another day in the life. It's part of the culture. And so it took me a while. I spent quite a while in India on 3 separate occasions, trips I went there, 2 of them by motorcycle for like 5 months at a time. And so by the end, none of that. It's really wild because the human being is a marvel of adaptation. And so I adapted to not knowing. You can adapt to feeling out of place all the time, everywhere. You can adapt to that. So that when you come back home, now all of a sudden your senses are like, whoa, everything's the same all the time. What? Whoa. It makes you feel really weird because you've adapted to the other way. The human being is absolutely malleable and plastic and adaptable, changing. It can grow and expand and conform and adapt. It's wonderful. But until you understand this, you're kind of like, what's happening to me? I didn't realize I had adapted to those things. I had adapted. After a full year of living in Thailand and teaching scuba diving and stuff, I didn't wear a shirt that whole year, and we just had my motorbike and my bungalow and everything, and people are just totally different. And then you come back to the States, and you're just the culture, the reverse culture shock is absolutely flooring. It floors you. It takes your breath away, and you feel more of an alien in your home country and in your hometown because you've adapted to the other things. So now psychologically, okay. So physically and neurologically, this is what is happening. This is what is going on. All right, but it's also neurologically, or more like psychologically, then what is happening is that we are, yes, living in the idea of the past and the future. We are living from the little me, the ego mind. the me that I think that I am. That Now, I'm not saying all of you, but most of you are still under the delusion that you are somebody, that you are an entity that is different in a world of separate entities. Okay, those lines haven't dissolved yet for most of you. So that's the ultimate illusion. Now the me is saying it's living in what once was or what is not yet. Okay, that is where the me lives. It doesn't live in the now. The ego mind cannot live in the now. It cannot live in the now. It has to live only in the thinking mind, only in the concept of what was or what will be. It cannot live in the now. And so for those reasons, it will trap you into romanticizing about the past, but also about the future. So when you're, and I know this over years of experience in this situation, in the beginning, towards the end, I could do anything, go anywhere. I mean, it was just different. But, and now it's just, I can just adapt instantaneously to basically anything. But at that time, it was the ego mind would romanticize, deeply romanticize about my life back home. Like, oh man, what did I do? I had that nice job at the factory that it was good money and I had good benefits. Oh, see, if just I would have joined some clubs and did some sports or something and had more social life, yeah, and then I would envision me going to dinner, with more friends and family more often, being more social and all that stuff. I was never going to do any of that. That's all a joke. That's all romantic fantasy in the head. You never would have done that. The ego mind is just romanticizing about, yo, how good your life really was. I hated that factory. I mean, I felt so stuck. I felt so like I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was 20 years old, 22 years old, and just withering away in a factory. For me, it's not for everybody. Okay. Some people are happy to have that kind of job. Perfectly acceptable. We need those kind of things. But for me, it was not where it's at. So, but yet I found myself romanticizing about, oh, how good I had it. And now I'm out here in this like cockroach infested place in India, and I don't have hardly any money, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know what I'm doing. What am I even doing out here? At least I had a sense of purpose back home. No, you didn't. You didn't have a sense of purpose back home. You're fantasizing. You have to get real with yourself. And so that's where the psychological, oh gosh, now when if just I could get back home, then it would be like this. I would get a dog, and then I would have new friends come over, and we could have dinner, and I'd have a big social life, and then maybe and then I'll make it a point to find a girlfriend and yada yada. Yeah. No, you wouldn't. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Until you change the psychological habit patterns that have constructed your life, you're just going to recreate the exact same thing elsewhere. And you'll come back home and none of that stuff will happen, okay? And it will just, and then you'll be just as unsatisfied as you were. And so it's all part of the ego mind's tricks, the romanticizing. So that is where the psychological aspect comes from. And combine that with the neurological, physiological aspect, then it is very powerful for a lot of people. All right? Very powerful. So let's see what you guys are saying. Now, the Jacob says, it's more than just acceptance for me. It's about moving towards a vision in my mind. Absolutely. Absolutely. I get it. But now, we'll talk about acceptance sometime. If I feel like we should have a whole talk on what acceptance is, and when we use it in this context, what that means. So let's see here. Pilar says, that is so true, Nate. There is a comedy skit that's like of a travel agency. We can take you to Italy to hike, but we can't make you a person that likes to hike. Yeah, that's exactly true. That's exactly true. We can't make you a person that likes to hike. Jacob Tiffin says, for me, everything changed when I became a father. Yes, this is very common, because it suddenly gives our life purpose. Now someone needs us, something there to grow and to build. It will extend beyond us, and it's for the future. It's greater than us, and so it's a way to it gives our life purpose. This is very common. Um, Joe says, I seem to do better in life when things are going tough for me. Not sure what that's about, but I need to meditate on that. Oh, I get it. I get it. I get it. Now, that should be its own talk as well. That could be its own talk as well. Because I am also the person that works better under pressure. But as far as creating unnecessary strife in my life and claiming that I work better under those conditions, that's not true. That's not true. So we have to make a distinction. Yeah. Graham says, I worked in a factory for 3 years. It's what made me leave and go abroad. I couldn't get out fast enough. The unknown couldn't have been worse than that. Yes, that's the point I was at as well. Everyone's like, well, what do you do? What are you going to do after you quit here and you leave? I was like, I don't really know. They're like, you're going to go to India and Sri Lanka. What? And then do what? I was like, I don't really know. And they just couldn't even fathom that. And neither could I really, but it was just like, I don't even care. I didn't even care if really, I mean, subconsciously, I didn't even care if I like died, because it would be better than than the life I was living at the moment, at the time. So I was like, well, I don't know, but I don't even care, because it's better than working at this factory. So, but now you can rest assured that if you're feeling homesick, that it is the ego mind. Yes. Now, some of this, we're not saying at all to deny these feelings. If I'm feeling a bit of homesickness, I'm not going to, oh, no, I'm spiritual now. I'm not supposed to feel any of this. Let me just go and do something else. No, that's like a spiritual bypassing kind of thing. If you're feeling it, feel it. Feel it completely. Sit, meditate with it, and sit there and accept it and feel what the energy is trying to tell you. It's not just a thought, I am homesick. It's a feeling. Now go into that. Do the meditation, become silent for a moment. Become silent, and then just listen. Listen to what the body is saying, to what the energy is trying to tell you. What kind of images come up? What kind of motivations come up? What kind of stuff comes up? And even if it's negative, even if it's like a yearning, a longing, that's perfectly fine. Just feel it. Observe. Observe. Remember, you are not it. It is not you. You are the observer of all of this. Ultimately, there is no you, of course, but that's for later. Just observe. Just observe and see what it's trying to tell you. Now, yes, living it and thinking in the past and the future, definitely, it's romanticizing. The me lives only in what once was or what is yet to come, neither of which are real. The only thing that is real, meaning the only thing you can experience, that's the criteria. What can I actually experience now? This experience now, here. I cannot experience the phantasmal life that I have in my mind that I thought that I once had back home, or that I'm going to have when I go back home. You can't experience all that. You can only experience thinking about that, and you can only do that now. So you have to always look at what is my experience, not my thoughts. That can be difficult at first for a lot of people, separating my thoughts from my experience, the images in my mind from my actual experience. So all those fantasies or all that longing and stuff of the home and the homesickness, you're not experiencing any of that. And when you do experience it, it will only come as the now, of course. All think that there is only the now, in which all experience happens. And when it does come, it will be very different than what you have in your mind. It will be very different because you will have the ability to influence the situation, because you will have the ability to take action. You cannot take action on the past or the future. it might seem like you can, not the past. The past is obvious. We can't take action on the past. But most people think that they can take action on the future. But that is a psychological construct, a psychological trap, because all you can do with the future is think about it. That's it. And you can only think about it now. So the future will only come as now, and you will only experience it as the current experience. And so you cannot take action on the future because it's just a thought. It hasn't happened yet. It's not here. You can only take action now. Now you have your power. And so it seems like a game at first. Well, okay, but I know that the future's coming. Yes, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the psychological construction of the way that this decoding device of the brain interprets reality, interprets the sensory experience that it's perceiving. That's what we're talking about. You have to actually go that deep and you rearrange the very receiving structure of the brain, of the mind, so that it receives reality, it receives the input in a different way, in a way that is so much more expansive than in the way before when you were trapped in the thought concepts of past and future. Once you awaken to the now, it's just so much more expansive, so many more possibilities, so clear and crisp, and you have the capability to regulate your emotions and your mood and the sensations that are happening. You have the ability to regulate all of that and observe. But it all only happens now. Yes. Ms. T says, not what? Let's see. Pilar says, I like that simple explanation of the ego mind. I need to sit with that for a while. It's simple but hard. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Ms. T says, Nate, that resonates. Since the loss of my husband, I have retired early. Sometimes I think, what if I was still working, or all of my family members are still working? I should still be working. Right. Yeah, there's definitely that. Now that is it's a type of homesickness. I mean, it's a same structure that we're talking about. It's the fantasizing about what could be or what was. Okay? But that is an endless loop. That is an endless loop. You can sit there for the rest of your days thinking about, well, but what if I was still working? Or I should still be working because my family members are still working. And what am I doing? You could sit there and think endlessly about that instead of you could you could awaken to the now. You could narrow your focus into the now and you could say, look, the infinite spirit guided me to this for a reason. So I'm going to live presently. I'm going to take this additional time that I have and I'm going to seek out new experiences. There's something I'm meant to experience here. I don't know exactly what. I don't know what it is for you. And you probably don't know yet, but the universe knows, the energy knows what it has in store for you. So just be open to it and say, okay, well, with this time, I'm going to do that thing I've always been wanting to do. Maybe I will go with my sister and take a trip somewhere, or I will go to these museums, or who knows? Nothing is too big or too small. But the fact is that the infinite spirit guided you there. And so now what are you supposed to learn? What are you supposed to learn? Yes. VA Green says so many problems would disappear if people could start living in the now. Absolutely. Virtually all problems. I mean, because problems are a mental construct. Eckhart Tolle does a really good job at making the distinction between problems and situations. Problems exist in the mind, and they require the past and the future, meaning they require the ego mind. They require the mental concept of me being a person, moving in a reality, time and space with another little individual people. It requires that because when you realize yourself as the now, which is the space in which all things appear to take place, there is no problems. There is just a situation that must be dealt with. And you can deal with this situation now. You can't deal with that situation that is living only in your mind and cycles around your phantasmal thought process. Ginny McDonald says, I feel the same, Ms. T. Been retired 4 months. Nice, nice. I mean, I think that's great for you guys. Jacob says, I feel a connection to you, Nate. Not sure why. Yes, this is not surprising because we are the same infinite source. Yes. So the more that the individual illusions get out of the way, the more that we feel and see and feel the reality that we are the mind of God. Joe Morton says, yes, seek new experiences without having to work for someone else at low pay. Yeah, definitely. Without having to work for someone else at low pay. New experience is what it's all about. And that's one reason that I'm very fortunate that I made the decision when I was young, 22, 24 maybe, to go traveling. And because that is when I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Everyone's like, well, what are you going to do about retirement? I was like, man, I'm 24 years old. I'm not thinking about retirement, but you need to. Well, okay, that might be, but I'm not going to let that overshadow me and make me stay here at this factory. So instead, I'm just going to quit and sell everything, one-way ticket to Sri Lanka, and we will see what happens. Yeah. And I had no idea, but the infinite spirit was guiding me. I didn't understand that at the time. I had no idea what infinite spirit was or anything like that. But it was obviously guiding me, obviously. Because the universe is always guiding you towards that which is most conducive to your awakening. If you can see it. If you can see it. If you're willing to accept death, the ego death, only the ego dies. What is real cannot die. What you actually are has never been born. It cannot die. It is here now all the time, eternally present. It is the source of your being, the infinite power of creation. So when you realize yourself as that, things like homesickness or anything just kind of dissolve. They become an experience. They become an experience that you're observing, but they're not you anymore. So Joe says, you can focus on retirement all your life, and then the government comes up with new money system voiding your life's work. Yeah, I see. I mean, I just turned 39, so we'll see. I mean, that's 30 years away when I would typically, I guess, retire or whatever. But I don't foresee things being like they are now. Oh, Social Security, been paying into Social Security for years and years and years. Yeah, I just don't see 20, 30 years from now that system still being in place. So, Brian says, I love the tools that you have handed me. The knowledge is much appreciated, my Viking friend. Yes, Brian, this is wonderful to hear. I'm glad that you see it. The tools are right there. The tools for everything are right there. Okay, guys. So I think that we are about done with this one. So remember, if you've got a topic, put it in question form in the comments. It works really good. So we just need something that is somewhat relevant to what we're doing, and we can go with that. Yeah. And that way we all can learn about it, and hopefully that sheds some light on the questioner. Says the topic about homesickness. Now I could go on and on and on about specific examples and all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lifetime of experience happened in those years. Lifetimes of experience happened in those years. So it's there's so many things that we could talk about, but this is the distilled essence right here. Spencer says, Nate, since day one, you have been one of the most inspiring people I have had the pleasure to know. You help me with more than you know. Much love, my friend. Yes, this is what it's about. I'm happy you're feeling it, my friend. Definitely. You have the tools. You have the tools. Ms. T says, powerful. Oh, 1 second. Yes, thank you. Bless me. um, so Ms. T says, powerful words, Nate. That of allowing the death of the ego. Yes, yes, yes. We have to. If you want it, you have to be ready to die. That's what there is. So, okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for the blessings, Aaron, Spencer, Val. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Uh, so Spencer says, very grateful to be here with this beautiful tribe. Yes, definitely. Okay, so I'll see you guys next time, huh? Make sure you put them questions in the comment. All right. If you haven't liked the video, go ahead and like it, and we will see what we can do for the next week. All right. So, thank you, my friends. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. This is literally true. This is not a figure of speech. Watch, open your eyes, observe, and allow your heart to guide you, and everything becomes crystal clear. I assure you of this.